everyone, this is Emma, and in this video I am going to be walking you through how I set up my week in the life. So everything from my initial inspiration, where I find the inspiration, the whole planning process. And for me, that planning process starts with deciding what size album I'm going to be using. Now this is my week in the life 2023. I made this pretty small. There's a complete walkthrough of this album if you'd like to see it, and I'll put a link to that below. I really like the way that this album kind of came together. One of the things I do like about it is the fact that the pictures are not very big. Let me see if I can just zoom in a bit for you there. This is 5.5 by 5.5, and the reason why I chose this size was purely because I can get 2 photos this size on one size of A4 paper. So it felt to me as if I was maximising the use of the paper, and that was purely the only reason why, apart from the fact that I did want to make something small. I tend to make my own binders, as you know, so that everything is kind of personalised to me, and then I'm not thinking about having to make something that has to fit into a certain size binder or a certain width of binder. I don't need to concern myself with that, and that's one of the reasons why I make them. And I just really like making things as well, let's be honest. Who doesn't like a bit of crafting? So this, I'll just run you through briefly the formula. For me, not having a formula for this project would just not work. Having something that you follow every day just is definitely the way to go. So as I said, I already have a full walkthrough, so I'll just briefly run through it. So I had like a sort of introduction page, my highlights of the week, and then my reason why, and then my formula was basically the transparency overlay with the days on, the date on a strip, one hero photo which I felt summed up the day, then a quote that was inspirational for me at the time. Then this kind of went through from the morning to the evening. So this is sunrise, and then right at the back it says, I know you're in here, I know you're in here, that's Saturday, sunset. So these words were in the kit, and they started off with sunrise, and then there was like AM. So they kind of followed through. It kind of went from the beginning to the end, but everything in between was different. Watch the video. It will be much easier than me trying to explain it. I'm so bad at explaining things. So full page photo with one of the words, that there's a connection between the word and the photo. Then little photos with the time on them. Then these little speech bubbles had images in them, and I used one every day, and whatever was in here I tied it up to the photo. Then what I ate, what I did, what was in the news, what the weather was like. There was a different ing word every day. Then there was these plastic elements in the mini kit, which I've just loved these so much, and again a tie-in for the day. Then I made a little folder, stamped the day on it, made some journaling that fitted in there, and then I made these, and then nothing on the back, and then the next day started. So that was my entire week. I don't think I finished it off with anything particularly fancy apart from this ending the day this way, and that was it. And I look at this and I just really love it. It brings me so much joy. So for 2024 I'm going to be using the same format. I am not going to be making a post-bound album this time. I'm going to use I buy these, you can just buy these online, and so I'm going to be making a folder, and I'm pretty sure, because this is pretty much the same width as this one, that this will be big enough for me. So that's my stage one. I've made my decision about what size I am going to be doing my album in, which then makes the next stage, which is my inspiration and how things are going to fit together, a little bit easier. So the next stage for me is gathering inspiration and just jotting down ideas. I do this in Canva. No reason particularly other than the fact that you can draw in it quite easily, and it's always there. I'm not going to lose it. Sometimes when I write things on paper, I will never find them again. So I like to use this, and it also means that I can drag things into it. So if I find ideas off the internet, I can literally just screen grab it and just drop it in. So this is my basic ideas where I put them all down. Sometimes I'll do all of them, sometimes I'll do none of them, and sometimes I'll do a variation of this. When I try and put it into practice, I realize something about it doesn't work. So there's no particular way that I go about this. I just think of things I like, or if I see something else that somebody else has done, I think, oh, I quite like that idea. And I'll just kind of run through it so you can see. So I won't go through every page in detail because that will probably be quite boring for you, but just to give you an idea of what I mean. So at the beginning of my week in the life, there'll be a little section at the beginning, which is like the reason why and all of that. But when we get into the day by day, my intention is to have a piece of black card, this piece here, and then cut a circle out of the middle of it and put whatever day it is in the middle. And then on the reverse of that, so if this was flipped over, it will be white on the back, and the days of the week will be in, or the day of the week will be in black. So you've got this contrast, and this will be acetate in the middle. So this will be just glued onto it. So it kind of provides a peek-a-boo type of effect. I also quite like the idea of having speech bubbles with words or phrases in them somehow. I'm not sure again how that's going to work, but that's an idea that I liked. And then here is an idea of how I manipulate some things. So I really like I think it's the main kit, there is a 3x8 card. This is all different colours, this strip, and then it says morning, afternoon and evening. So first of all, I kind of thought maybe I'll do it with the pictures going across this way. And then I wasn't really sure about that, so I had another think, and I've put here see alternative. So if I scroll down, you'll see that I've rearranged it so that the coloured strip is at the top, and I've got morning, afternoon and evening. And then I've got, these are like representing little pictures. I've got a little cutout here, so it might put something in there, timestamp in. I've literally just jotted down a whole load of ideas. I liked the banner flags, so I've inserted one of those, and then I've thought, oh, I'll either do some journaling there, or I quite like this idea of having just words. Instead of all journaling, just typed up stamped words in here instead. These pages are, I want to do some kind of semicircular thing. So I've got some ideas about maybe having 5 things I observed, some journaling in here, and on the reverse of this, an ing picture or a word or something. And then here you can see I have an alternative to this design. So I would either have like facts on this side and feelings on the other. This is just another design of this, but again, just jotting stuff down. Just jotting stuff down that I liked. Now, I really do like the idea of a grid with bits and pieces I've collected through the day. But in our home, we don't usually have a lot of deliveries like letters. We don't really have junk mail and stuff like that. So I really liked in one of Ali's videos, she had the grid layout, but she had used pattern paper, and also in her grid layout, she has used, where has it gone? She's used some of these bits and pieces as well. So I'm not sure exactly what I'm going to do, but I would like to do something along those lines. So I put that in there. And then a bit further down, I've just written more notes. What am I going to put in the pockets? I put, well, maybe have a food photo, or maybe journaling, or a quote or something. And then Linda Loves Creating had this from one of her Week in the Life years. I can't remember which one. And she's got this schedule, and I quite like the way that she had created this kind of line format and then things next to it. And then Ali did something similar. So if I try and make this bigger. So I thought, oh, I quite like that idea as well. And she's handwritten in what she was doing. Mine will just say, watching Ali make stuff. Put a thumbs up below if that would be you too. And then I don't know who this was, and I can't remember who it was. So if you know who this was, who created this layout, will you please let me know so I can tag them, because I really believe in letting people know where these other inspirational ideas came from. So this was my idea of doing something similar, but it will be in here instead. The other thing that I've done is these are screen grabs from Ali's week in the life story class. So I'll just go over to here. So this is the class that she has. It's amazing. I absolutely recommend it. Like it's so good. There are so many amazing ideas in here. She goes through all the before and during and after process, all her previous designs, her content, and then there's other people in here as well. I absolutely think this is one of her best ever classes, and to me it's a bit like Ali porn. If you just love watching Ali make stuff, this is like hours. This is like if you're having a self-care day and you love Ali, just buy this class and just watch it. It's just amazing. Can't say enough about it. Anyway, back to Canva. Oh, wrong one. Back to Canva. So what I did was I screen grabbed bits that I liked the idea of, and I just dragged them in to remind me. So she did these timestamp things, and I just really liked the fact that they were a bit random. I'm not sure if I will actually do that, but I liked it, so I dropped it in there. I like the fact she did a photo of everybody. I like the big bold stamping. I like the journaling on a tag. So these are just ideas that are here to remind me of things that I've liked. The other thing that I have in here is some ideas about repeated elements. So these are all things that popped into my mind when I thought, what are the things that I could take photos of every day that happen every day? Sometimes they're always the same, and sometimes they're very different. So there's like what you have in the morning, like a morning tea or coffee, what we're watching on TV, me walking the dogs, receipts, things that my daughter lives around the house. If you have a teenage daughter, you know what that means. Text messages, different rooms. I thought I might go into a different room every day and take pictures of how that room looked in that particular year of our lives. What we're eating, some kind of inspirational note to self quote, print out of the notes that I've made each day, what I'm wearing, facts and feelings, and routine. Just I might do some of these. I will do some of them, but I won't do all of them. This is just a brain dump of stuff that you can come back to and refer to. And then I've just kind of written down the things that I feel that from my stash would be helpful in supporting the story. So maybe a currently stamp, a today stamp. Do I have any stamps with day of the week or cards with day of the week, cards that have story on them? All of those things that you can look through your stash and pull them out, and they in themselves may give you ideas of different ways to approach this. So that is my stage 2, pulling all of my ideas and things that I like together. Okay, so I'm at my desk and I have here a stack of 5x5 pieces of paper to lay out my designs on. I know this is kind of a bit extra, but it really helps me with kind of understanding how things will look when they're actually on the page, so I don't spend ages laying something out and then when I print it I'm like, oh, I don't really like that anymore. I printed out my pages from Canva and I've got a few supplies together. So I've got some number stamps, a typewriter font, I've got some story kit stamps, mainly these ones because of the stars. I really like the stars in those. I really like the ampersands on this kit. I think this was the ampersand kit, but this is one of my most favourite ones. Some speech bubbles, and there may be some others that I will pull out, but this is where I am for now. I've got some hearts in here. I pulled out the scrapbook kit, which is the punctuation one, and I really loved these cork hearts, but unfortunately there is only 4 of them, and my brain is going, no, that means there'll be different ones. So I think what I'll probably do is I have some quite thick card here, craft card, so I'm thinking that I will take the digital version of this and then just cut out 7 from this rather than I don't know. I was thinking maybe I could do one of each on different days, add a bit different texture. But anyway, that's what I'm kind of thinking for that. And then I have 7 or 6 right now cards. So I'll have to make another one if I'm going to use these. Probably won't be using those. I have some more quotation marks here. I really like the idea of filling this full of quotation marks. So I will just cut these out. Some different papers that I won't be using. I really like this one, and I really like this one. Some really big ones there, some different ones there, and I quite like these parentheses or brackets if you're from the UK. That's what we call them. So I was thinking that I would cut them out, but again, I need to see what they're going to look like on here. And then there's some more of those things, some speech bubbles, which I was thinking that I could use instead of these, but I don't think I will. Then that one I will not be using. I really like this background, so I'm thinking about using this background. It's got little exclamation marks on it, and printing up some more sheets of it so I have enough of it. And then this one I will not be using. So what I'm going to do now is I am going to put this to one side and start mocking up my pages. Now, as I said, I know this is kind of a little bit extra, but what I find is sometimes when I'm doing these kind of things where it's a book and it's all kind of be the same, mapping it all out really helps my creative process and also helps me realize whether things are too big or they're not big enough. And so I spend less time literally on the computer trying to do this. So I've mocked up my day. So this day is how I'm intending to create all of my days. There'll be more or less pictures depending on how many I take, but generally everything will flow through the same. So the first introduction will be, this will be black. It'll have a hole punched out. This will be acetate in this gap here in the circle, and then I will cut out the whatever day of the week it is on my silhouette and adhere that to the acetate. So you will be able to see it on the reverse, but that doesn't bother me. And then there'll be the day of the week, and the card will be white, but this will be black. So I think in the kit you can there's like dividers with the day on, so I will get those, but I'll reprint them in black and straight onto the card so that it will just say Monday, Monday, Monday all over it, or whatever day of the week it is. And then the hero photo, so the big photo of the day, the one I really like, that will be underneath, so you can see it's like a peekaboo effect underneath. And then the big photo. Now, I'm not sure about embellishing. I didn't embellish them last year, so I'm not really sure yet if there's something in the kit that I could use consistently across the days. If there is, then I will, but at the moment I'm just intending for this to be like completely just one big photo. Or it's just come to my mind that what I might do is create some word phrase stickers here, so just to give a little bit of an explanation behind the photo. Then we have the next page where I've stamped out some different numbers. I think I like the more typewriter ones more than the more swirly ones. So this will be coloured here. I'll probably print that rather than trying to cut card out and stick it in. And then there'll be 5 things that I've noticed from the day. And then on the other page, I have the quotation marks, and then I'll just put all my journaling stuff up here. I'm going to type this out all the way to the bottom. So that's how this page will work. And then when you switch it over like this, I don't know why I did this in yellow because this is green, or I should have probably done this in yellow. So the ing word will match up with this colour. So the colour for the day will run all the way through the colour for that day. And then say if this is a watching one, then details about all the things I'm watching. Now I'm still a bit like on the fence about this. That's a lot of journaling for me personally to write about things that I'm watching. if it's reading, listening, all of those good words, I'm going to have to think about it. So I may end up either making this font bigger, or making this a half page. Well, I can't make it a half page because it doesn't work on the other side. But yeah, I'll have to think about what I do with this page so that I don't end up just writing loads of nonsense because I can't think of what else. I've got to fill the space. So this is still to be thought through. And then on the next page is where I've got the card, which has morning, afternoon and evening with the colours up here. Because I'm buying the digital kit, my plan is to recolour all of these are all multicoloured on Ali's card. So I am thinking of recolouring them different tones of yellow, if it's the Monday, or green, if it, whatever colours I choose, so that there's this continuity running through it. With all the photos from my day, and as you can see I've made them all different sizes, and then the banner flag from the kit, and then just in this sort of typewriter font, just words from the day. So this first one I put all of the letters on one thing all together, but it really spaced them out and I didn't really like it like that. And this cross will be whatever colour the colour of the day is. And I'll just keep typing these, like stamping these words out until there's no room left for me to continue to do that. I am going to use word phrase stickers that I will make for this time stamp here, because I do really like that kind of effect, and that will be a lot quicker than what I did last year. And then on this page, in the 2020 prep class, Ali created this PDF that you can print out, and you don't really see that because it's all gone blurry, and it says different things. So it says like facts and feelings, today I think that says loving, Saturdays are for, I want to remember. So I'm not sure if I will use all of these because I think I might find them quite difficult, but the plan is to use the days of the week, the pocket, and make the pocket, this is like the vellum, this is my representation of the vellum pocket with all of the day stamped on here, or you know what I mean, the printed version of it, and then have around here, and then maybe there'll be a photo on there, and just using this as a jumping off point prompt. And then a half page to add again a little bit of differences in size, where I'm going to put the front page of our local paper, which is the Jersey Evening Post. There's nothing that ever happens here, but I've never recorded the front of our newspaper before, because nothing ever happens, but I thought it might be quite fun to do that this time. So I'm going to put that on here. This will be a tab so that you know it's slightly different. And then on the back I'll have a picture of my food AM and PM. And then this will be the speech bubble, a funny thing that someone said. And I'm thinking that I may stamp lots of different coloured speech bubbles underneath this. This will be cut out on the craft, and then I will either use word phrase stickers or I will type out something and stick it on. Then on the other side, my schedule, so my kind of diary for the day, and I'll just fill that in. And then this one, I've used vellum because I just had it to hand, but I'm planning on doing this on acetate so you can see through it. And then on the other side, where this, because these, you can see obviously these on the other side, to cover that up, I will have one big photo, but I will cut it down to fit on top of the squares on the other side. So I'm not sure. I've made these all different sizes, but I think to actually make this like easier, it would be to have these a set size, so that when I'm coming to do this side, I'm not trying to guess how big everything needs to be. So I'll probably have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 in here, so they'll be longer. They'll be like this width, but they'll be a bit narrower. And then on this side, it'll be what would be a full page photo, but cut down smaller to fit on top of the other side, so you can't see the back of them. I've just written here note to self, image broken up and quote added. So I'll either type or use word phrase stickers to make up a quote that's whatever is resonating with me that day. And then on this page, I'm thinking about doing picture of what I'm wearing, walking, so that's the dogs, what I'm loving and what I'm stressing about. Oh, yeah, I can think of things right now that will probably be in there, because I'm planning on documenting this week when we are actually moving, which even now I say it out loud sounds like a really, really silly idea. Anyway, we'll see what happens. And then on the back, I'm going to use one of the ampersand signs. I'll stamp it in the same colour from the day, some final wrap-up thoughts for the day, and then another photo. So that is my plan. And although it is sort of a little bit extra to go to this amount of trouble to try and mock up your day, I do find it really useful because I can kind of see the flow of the pages, because I generally don't want like all the photo pages together and then all the journaling pages together. So this helps me kind of figure out in what order things need to be. And it also helps me understand how many photos I need to take. So I now know that I need to take one big photo here. I probably need a photo that represents, that's 2 photos, and then like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, at least 9 photos for this, and then maybe another one here, so that's 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. So I know that every day I need to take 21 photos or thereabouts, If I don't find a photo, I'm perfectly fine with going to Unsplash and finding a photo which represents what I meant to take a photo of but forgot. So that is my stage 3, I think we are. And now I will be setting up my document in Affinity Publisher. Okay, so I use Affinity Publisher to lay out all of my pages. This allows me to see all of my pages side by side. So I don't really want to give you a tutorial on Affinity Publisher because that would take a really long time, but I'll just show you generally how it works and why I find it useful. So I'm going to do File, New, and I am going to set up, I wonder if I have one from last year. No, I do not. A new one, which I'm going to change this into inches and then make my page 5.5 by 5.5. I am going to have facing pages. I think I need quite a few. So I need 18 pages. Now I will need more than that, but we're just going to start with 18. I am going to make my margins very small size. I don't really want a margin. And then I'm going to click create. So these are all my pages. So the first thing I will do is create a black square, which will represent the black card that I will use when I physically make the book. And then I'm going to cut out a circle, which you can see I've done there. And then I'll duplicate this and drag it over to page 2 because this will be on the reverse of page 1. And then on the facing page, I'm going to put in a picture frame. And this will just allow me to easily drop in the photo that I want to use for my hero photo each day. As you can see, it's easy to pop that in there. Then on page 4, I think this is, yep, page 4, I am going to make the semicircular shape that will hold my 1 to 5 observations for the day. Now, you could just draw this with a pen. I could do that with a pen, but I want to make sure that the shape is a nice shape. So I'm doing this by taking a circle and then taking a rectangle, and then I will group those 2 shapes together so they'll become one shape, and then I'll crop the other side of it. You just saw me do that then. And then that creates that shape. And then I will take that, I will duplicate it and put it onto the facing page, but flip it over so that when they're closed, they overlap. There you go, that's that bit done. And then I'm going to make another square. I'm going to make it yellow, and then I'm going to put it behind the first semicircle shape I made, make that semicircle white. And then I will take the semicircle again and move that down to page 6, because that will be on the reverse of the yellow semicircle that I just made. So I'm just going to pop in some quotation marks from the punctuation scrapbook kit. And there is the semicircle I'm dragging down, so I know that everything is exactly the right size, and I'll be cutting this out on my silhouette. Now I am going to just grab a photo and I am going to mask it into the semicircle shape. Just gives me an idea of how much space I have and the sort of content of the photos. What I'm trying to say is I want to make sure that I'm kind of clear in my head what type of photo I would want to take in there. So something with a lot of detail probably wouldn't work too much in there. Then I'm making an ing word, and I tend to separate the first letter and the rest of the word so that I can make it fit nicer. And then I duplicate the word, I make one layer a slightly different color to give it a drop shadow effect. Now you can just make a drop shadow effect in Publisher, you don't need to do it manually, but for some reason that's just the way that I prefer to do it. I think I just like the fact that I have a bit more control over where it fits. Now I'm looking for some paper to sit my brackets on for my journaling, and I had completely forgotten that I had already decided I was going to use the punctuation kit papers, the one with the exclamation mark, but I suddenly do remember, and then you'll see me drag that in. And then I'm going to grab this second piece of paper from the punctuation kit, and I am going to digitally cut out those two blue brackets and put them on top of the paper. Now I'm taking a rounded corner rectangle to make a space for my journaling, but I realise that my brackets are a little bit too big, so I make them smaller and put them on both sides, and then I use my colour picker tool to grab the colour from the exclamation mark paper and make that rectangle the same colour as that background, so it blends in a bit nicer. And then I'm just going to add some filler text into that square in a text box, so it gives me an idea of the amount of space I have for my journaling. The next thing I'm doing is I am creating a master. Now, masters allow you to set up certain things that you want to repeat without having to redo them every time. So what I'm doing here is I am creating a mock-up of the morning, afternoon and evening card, and because I've made it as a master, every time I want to use that I just literally drop it in. So you can see I've just dropped that in onto my actual pages. And then this is the page with the pocket mock-up on, so that slightly paler yellow will be the vellum piece, and the yellow will be the background, and there'll be something that will slip into the pocket. And now I am grabbing the front cover of our local paper, and I'm just going to screen grab it and drop it in, because I want to know, once this is kind of fitting within the page, how wide is the page going to be, because the reverse of that page needs to be the same size. So I'm using the rectangle that I use to sort of state the width or create the width of the page, and I will just duplicate it to the page below, which will be the reversing page, so that I know that they're exactly the same size when I come to cut them out on my silhouette. And then I'm adding 2 more picture frames here to drop in my food pictures of the day when I take them. So now I'm looking for the speech bubble, the cork speech bubble from the punctuation kit, and I've dropped that in. And then I decide to try and make the stamped speech bubbles that I refer to in my mock-up. So I'm just going to take all of the speech bubbles and just drag them in. And then I will recolor them yellow and make them all different types of yellow to try and simulate what that will look like in the background. You can see here I've kind of got quite a few of them now. And then I drag the cork speech bubble back onto the page and I don't like it. So I then take all of those speech bubbles off and drag them back out again. Now, when I actually come to make this, I might experiment and see what it actually looks like when I stamp it. But I just felt it just looked a little bit busy. So instead I take a yellow background, I make it very pale and put it underneath the speech bubble, just so that speech bubble is not sitting on a completely white page. So this is my schedule page. So again, I tend to duplicate the text and then split it up so that I can resize it and make it fit properly. Now you can do this with a specific tool inside of Publisher. I just find that this is just quicker and easier because you're just moving things around. Then the next thing I'm going to do is create a table. I'm just using the table as a guide because I need to draw lots of lines for where I'm going to write in what I was doing every day, and also a column for the time. And it's just easier to insert a table because you can say how many individual rows you need and how many columns you need, and then just drag it around like I'm doing here to make sure that it just fits the space proportionally. So I don't have to measure out all of those lines. When I've drawn over them like I just did, I'll just delete the table, and here I am recoloring the lines and the column divider there so that you can see them, but they're not really forefront, I guess is what I'm trying to say. And then I'm just going to add in all of the different times of the day, and I went from 6 in the morning till 11 at night. And then I will group all of that together so that when I move it around, it moves everything in one go, so I'm not just going to leave some lines or different pieces of text behind. Now I am making another master, and this is going to have 2 columns and 6 different, well, like 6 rows, yeah. And what this allows me to do is it just works out all the spacing for me. When you add columns and rows, you don't have to worry about making them an equal size. It just does all the maths for you, so that when I go to actually put my pictures in, I know the exact space that I have to work in, so I don't make things too big or too small. And I've made a 2 column and 2 row grid on the facing page where I'm going to put my love in, stress in, etc. And that, again, it just spaces everything out for you. And then this is my final page. So I've put a picture box in there so I can just drop in whatever that picture will be at the time. I'm putting in some text so I have an idea of, you know, the kind of number of words I can fit in there. And then using an ampersand, I just really love the ampersands, but I will actually stamp that. And then just a little dividing line to neaten it up. So I now have all of my pages mocked up. You can see here that I've added a few more details with the Monday text on it and the Monday inside of the circle. Now that these pages are mocked up, it means that they are ready to go. Will I make more changes? Yes, I absolutely definitely will. I've now seen that Ali has released her plan, and I really like that she is dropping into these spaces some of the elements from the kit, and I'm thinking I quite like that idea. So that part of this design may get a little bit of tweaking. Sometimes you just see things and you just love them and you just think, I really want to incorporate that. So when I come to use this, I'm going to save this as a kind of master, and then when I come to use it, I'll open it and then do save as Monday, save as Tuesday, save as Wednesday, etc. So I don't, if I make a mistake in something, I don't end up recreating it on and on and on. So I tend to work from one and then use it again. One thing I was going to mention, actually, I really like it when I work with other people, but I know we're all spread out all over the world. So if anybody would be interested in joining me virtually to work on our week in the life at some point, I would very happily host a Zoom room for everyone to do that. If you would like to do that, then it might be easier for you to go over to my Instagram account and just send me a DM, or you can just pop a little message below. Please don't leave any personal details. I don't want like mad people contacting you that you don't want to contact you. And then we can try and figure out some times that work for everybody. In the meantime, though, thank you so much for watching this video. I know it was very long. I really appreciate the support. If you have enjoyed the video, please give me a thumbs up so I can reach more people, and I will see you all soon.